Pour me a glass of Thunderbird, and I might just fly.
After my last Key and Peele video, the conversation got a lot bigger than just why don't Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key work together anymore? Because once Akilah Hughes' story started spreading, people didn't just focus on Jordan Peele. They started looking closer at Keegan-Michael Key's wife, Ella Key. And that's where the whole discussion took a darker turn. To be clear from the start, a lot of this is allegation, interpretation, and public reaction. Akilah Hughes told a story using coded names like Locke and Banana, and most people online have interpreted that as Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele. Hughes claims she had a sketch show in development with Locke attached, but the project fell apart after his wife allegedly became involved creatively and professionally. That story has now been covered by multiple entertainment sites, but what made the story explode was the second part. Hughes claimed that Banana's wife, widely assumed online to mean Chelsea Peretti, called her and warned her about Locke's wife. According to Hughes, the warning was serious. Peretti allegedly compared the situation to the Phil Hartman tragedy, said she would not trust this woman to hold a baby, and claimed there was no telling how much money she had cost
that black man.
Again, this is Hughes' version of the conversation, but that detail is the reason people are now going back through interviews, podcast appearances, Instagram posts, and old comments looking for a pattern. And once the internet starts looking for a pattern, it usually finds one. On X, TikTok, Reddit, and in my own comment section, people have been reacting with a mix of shock, suspicion, and that weird feeling of, wait, has this been obvious the whole time?
Now, who are we referencing when we say Locke and Banana? So Banana, Jordan Peele. Locke is Keegan-Michael Key, and this is his wife. There are allegations that she has a very bad anger problem, that he cannot rehearse without her being there, that he's afraid to not have her present when he's going to certain events and things to that extent. It's alleged that that's what ultimately led to them not being a duo anymore. I won't say the show itself, but them just being that paired duo. If what she was told or what she stated is actual fact, then he needs to do something. He needs to do something quick. I don't think people realize that men can also be in an abusive relationship, especially when the woman looks like her.
She's currently going viral. She starts a Twitter thread about why Key and Peele allegedly don't work together anymore. Akilah Hughes starts a Twitter thread that links to a stand-up set that she does. And in the Twitter thread, she says, if you ever wondered why, and these names are bleeped out, K *** and P **EL don't work together anymore, well, watch the next video in this thread. It's funny because like a lot of people in the comments are like, I thought you were saying Cash Patel. Like they were like,
oh wow,
they were like, I thought you were saying why Cash Patel doesn't work anymore in this current political climate. But it's clearly about Key and Peele. Now that this has come up, like lots of other like people have responded to this tweet, being like, I have met Locke's wife. And, like there was a girl who was like, girl, I worked at Comedy Central when Locke was there, and let me tell you, the wife. Like,
really?
Yeah. So the thread is now full of comments being like, yes, I can confirm Locke's wife is. Yeah. They're like,
and this is allegedly Key's wife.
Yes,
so from Key and Peele.
Correct.
Allegedly, this is Key's wife.
Key's wife. Right. Yes. The code names were Locke and Peele, Locke for Key, and like this is all allegedly about Key's wife being a nightmare to work with. Apparently, though, a lot of the comments are saying Key is very nice. They're saying he's very kind, very lovely, very sweet. It's just his wife is allegedly not the nicest.
What is up with that?
Yeah.
Some people say they never paid attention to Ella Key before. Others say they noticed the dynamic years ago and felt something was off. One Reddit commenter, claiming to know people around Key's old circle, said Keegan is allegedly estranged from many old friends and family members and blamed Elle for cutting him off from people he knew before fame. I'm not presenting that as proven. It's an anonymous comment, and anonymous comments should always be treated carefully. But the reason it spread is because it matches a broader theme people already think they see. The idea that Keegan may have become isolated from parts of his old life. That theme is powerful because it goes beyond celebrity gossip. A lot of people understand what it means to be in a relationship where your world gets smaller. One person becomes the filter for who you trust, who you see, who gets access, and who is supposedly using you. That does not automatically mean that is happening here, but when people read a story about someone allegedly cutting off old friends under the excuse of protecting a famous partner, it hits a nerve. That is why so many people in the comments are connecting it to their own lives. They are not just saying, this is juicy Hollywood drama. They are saying, I've seen this kind of relationship before. And that is where this conversation becomes uncomfortable, because we have to be careful with words like narcissist. That word gets thrown around so much now that it has almost lost meaning. Anybody confident, annoying, selfish, controlling, ambitious, or attention-seeking gets called a narcissist online. So I'm not going to sit here and clinically diagnose Ella Key based on Instagram posts and podcast clips. But I will say this, people are noticing a recurring theme. They see Akilah Hughes describing alleged creative interference. They see Hughes claiming Chelsea Peretti gave a serious warning. They see old stories and comments about isolation. And they see moments where Keegan appears to be sharing the spotlight with someone who was not originally part of why the audience loved him. That doesn't prove anything by itself, but it does explain why the reaction has been so strong.
Elle, you started as a performer, but then very quickly went, I kind of want to be behind the scenes. Now, people don't really understand what producers do. It can mean a lot of different things, but producers make shows possible. They make the shoot possible.
I say they're problem solvers.
Great.
What's the problem? Location,
right. And how have you solved, what can you remember a time when you solved a problem that you thought was unsolvable?
One detail people keep bringing up is Elle Key's Instagram. Her first visible post, according to people discussing it, is a repost praising her as the creative genius behind an Or Ida campaign involving Keegan-Michael Key. The post describes her as coming up with the concept for Keegan's partnership with the brand. There is nothing wrong with a spouse being creative, supportive, or involved in their partner's work. But in the context of Hughes' story, people read that differently. They see it as another sign that Elle is not just Keegan's wife, she is positioned as part of the machine around him. That is the part people are reacting to. It's not simply a wife helped her husband. It's the impression that she may be too embedded in his professional identity. And again, that matters because Keegan-Michael Key was already an established talent long before this marriage. This is a man who came from Mad TV, built Key and Peele with Jordan, became one of the most recognizable sketch comedians of his generation, and had years of goodwill with audiences. So when fans see his wife being described as the creative force behind his public campaigns, some people push back and ask, why does it feel like she's being inserted into the story? That same criticism came up around the Fly on the Wall podcast episode with Dana Carvey and David Spade. In October 2023, Keegan and Elle appeared together to discuss the history of sketch comedy, their podcast/book project about sketch comedy and Keegan's career. The episode was officially billed with both of them as guests, so it was not strange that Ella spoke. She was part of that project. But after the Akilah Hughes story went viral, people started revisiting that interview and saying Elle talked over Keegan or dominated the conversation.
You have such a flow at this point in your lives, you know, with each other? Or how's the marriage going? You seem very happy, but sometimes there's a lot of tension underneath. I'm kidding. No.
I think the work.
I was like, this is your last question.
The work stuff is easy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is odd because I feel like people are always like, I couldn't work with my wife or I couldn't work with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, how do you do that? I said, well, we were friends and we were working together and figuring out how to work together before the other stuff.
Before
said,
you became romantic?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't
So-
know that. So that's a big, big difference. So you're friends. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're friends, like similar sense of humor. We no, what is it that
Well, we're
we get along really well.
our minds are kind of work as one. It's amazing. We really do. It's like we finish each other's sentences.
Sandwiches. Those sandwiches.
Can I ask you
Do it
a
again.
romantic
I like that one.
a romantic question? Because I've never had that experience. I've been married for 71 years of it. We're happily married. But this idea that you're friends.
Some viewers may watch it and see a normal co-author speaking about a shared project. Others may watch it and see exactly what Hughes was describing. Someone stepping into the center of a conversation built around Keegan's talent and history. That's why this story has legs. It gives people a new lens. Before, a podcast appearance with Keegan and Elle might have seemed harmless. After Hughes' story, people watch the same clip and read every interruption, every explanation, every moment of control differently. That does not mean every criticism is fair. Sometimes the internet decides who the villain is and then works backwards. That is dangerous. But it also doesn't mean the entire reaction is baseless. When multiple unrelated people look at the same public dynamic and come away with similar discomforts, that's worth talking about.